Hello, this is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. So happy to be joined today by Tomer Mann, who is CRO with 22 Miles. The topic of conversation is, of course, digital signage, aligning with Commercial Integrator's Digital Signage Deep Dive, which will be all over commercialintegrator.com throughout this month, focusing on one of the most important growth segments you're going to find out there right now. And it's a segment in which 22 Miles is definitely a recognized leader. Thank you so much, Tomer, for joining me. Really appreciate you being here today. Really appreciate you sharing your thought leadership with our audience.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
So let's jump right into it. Knowing that you are, and 22 Miles is, really a recognized expert in this category, digital signage, experiential signage, I'd love to get your perspective on the most important elements of a successful digital signage solution, because there are multiple, aren't there?
There are multiple, and there's a lot of different sayings, right? Content is king. API automation is a requirement. Intuitive and comprehensive solutions, right? So all of those phrases and words really play into the elements of a successful digital sign solution. I think that any CMS application has to be intuitive, has to have the flexibility of pick and click, drag and drop capabilities to create a dynamic experience that is not stagnant. You're not stuck in a box. You have the agile feature sets and settings to create almost a blank canvas design or reuse layouts that are workflow changeable, workflow editable, that they're not static, that they're not kind of stuck in a zone or a window, and that's the layers of design that you're basically able to do and manage, and that's it. So I think a CMS that is friendly for designers, friendly for and easy to use for a novice individual, I think is first and foremost the most important thing, to allow for those visual communications to really resonate in real time moving forward as trends happen, as design trends happen, as the organization layers are needed. I think the other part is automation. A lot of what you should be doing should be done from your back of the house software, your data sources, your APIs, the Outlook calendars, the Google calendars, the Power BIs, the Tableaus of the world. That information should pull automatically, that you don't have to reinsert that. It shouldn't be a manual entry every single time. If you want to have an emergency alert override capability, you should have integrations to Rave, to Everbridge, to Alert Us, where it does that cap alert without you having to put that in. The flexibility to incorporate maybe single sign on an Active Directory for employee information that is automated, again, with the employee information or privilege level of what they can leverage. Office 365 or Teams or WebEx integrations for either space booking or video conferencing. And the list keeps going, right? Social media integrations or weather or news or RSS components or HTML iframes. All of that should be available for someone to leverage in a CMS application, to have that automation, to have that better eye appeal, because it's real time, real data being leveraged in interface or in integration. And then also, I think as I said before, content is king. You need to have the animations, the transitions, the capabilities of having different settings doing as a pick and click, really eye-appealing experiences that are both on a non-touch and an interactive or touch experience, or video walls that have video wall mapping to support any resolution or any orientation or any experiential design to the pixel. So all of those layers, if you've got those components, create a successful and future-proofing digital signage solution.
There are, as we said from the outset, so many factors to consider if you're going to have that successful digital signage application. It's certainly not as simple as just hanging a display on a wall and saying, well, there it is. There's so much mindfulness that needs to go into it. And you really focused on it in terms of the CMS elements. So thank you for that. Now let's talk about another really important buzzword, and I think it certainly relates to digital signage. Let me know if you disagree. How 22 Miles might be using AI to improve digital signage user and owner experiences. Anything you might want to add on that?
Sure. So AI is very fluid right now, right? It's. I think the last 9 months, it's went from just a conversation and machine learning experience to what we know as ChatGPT, which has over 100 million users in less than 6 months, which is nothing has ever been to that record and that data type of implementation ever in our technology history, right? And so it's still very fluid. It's moving fast, and we're learning as we go onto how much we can leverage within the generative AI capabilities, the language models that we can train. And so what we've done in-house is created what we call kind of the agent AI or the smart agent. Again, we're even fluid on what we want to call it, but there's 3 different applications that we're looking to implement and or have already implemented. AI Assistant, which we won Best of Show at Infocom for, and then we also just won with AV Nation as well, the AI Assistant where you can kind of create a walled garden experience around OpenAI, and we've trained it to only respond and generate responses within a set database. So if you want to ask, like you're at a stadium arena, where is seat 121? Or show me where the Budweiser stand, or I need the restrooms. It's not just going to give you all of this information. It's going to ask you, it's going to dig in. Okay, are you looking for a specific beverage if you're asking for beer? Are you looking to find out these are all of the restrooms. Which one do you want? Do you want to walk to the one that's closest to seat that you're sitting at? What is your seat? So it can dig in. It's not just doing a Google search. So we've really leveraged that capability for our touchscreen experiences, for web capabilities, and for mobile as well, where now we can train it within your specific product or venue. So that's a big one. And then on the other side of that, so that's more for external use. The other side is an internal use, where now we've created editing capabilities with AI. We've always had template AI for about a year and a half, 2 years now, where you can create a template with data mapping technology, with leveraging different content nuances that then resonate to hundreds of templates that we've built into our template library. Then you can pick the one you want. Now we've done it where you can control the player, the device. You can have the player be scheduled based on commands, and we call it AI command. So I want to change player 101 on Wednesday from 2 to 4 o'clock with this image that I just dragged into the prompt, and the AI says, okay, here you go. And it does the editing for you. And that's a really cool experience, because now you're taking a lot of the picking and finding and searching, and you're just telling, you're naturally having a conversation with your software to command it what you want it to do. You press enter or say go, and it does the work for you. And then the third option is AI back office, where we ourselves figured out that we do so many different RFPs, we do so many different support tickets that kind of end up being, we don't do a lot of support because our software is bad. It's just frequently asked questions, and general questions like, how do I upload a player? I forgot. Okay, so we've decided to just push in all of these documents into kind of a back office AI training module that starts learning all of these frequently asked questions, these common RFP security questions, and then basically will just learn and generate that information for us from a support perspective, from a usability FAQ perspective. And then the AI will just start learning from all of these thousands of pages of questions and be able to create a new more advanced chat bot that's AI driven, that's not just kind of random questions. It's digging in to what you really want, right? It's asking you back questions so it can provide the right layers of information. And I think that's where AI is benefiting people, and that's where we're really leveraging and improving digital signage experiences for both the internal usage of the CMS editor and for the venues and visitors and travelers of the world to be able to have assistance through these generative experiences.
It's really just an incredibly profound opportunity. And I like the fact that you talked about, whether it's with chatbots or anything else, it's really about being more efficient, more information, more power at your hands. It's not about, taking away people or replacing people. It's about giving people more tools, more enablement to deliver the kind of experiences they want and deliver the kind of outcomes they want. And it really seems like that's the very best form of AI in terms of just delivering that empowerment to people. I did
Empower.
have one follow-up question about that, though. Whenever we're talking about digital signage, most of the experiences I'm thinking about the best are interactive ones. But AI-driven experiences are kind of different from just purely interactive digital signage experiences. Is there anything else you want to add about AI-driven digital signage in an experiential way?
I think it's all interactive, right? In the end of the day, right? You're still having a conversation and having an interaction, right? And which could be touch or could be voice, right? Which also now creates another benefit, inclusivity, right? From multi-language native capabilities to disability capabilities, right? You can have sensors that now are asking you if you have questions. You don't have to touch anything. You can just talk. Or if it's a deaf individual, now you can incorporate the subtitles, or you can have it all written out. So there's those layers that now are completely beneficial and interactive in different ways other than clicking on a screen. And I think the other layer also from an interactive perspective is not necessarily a touch interaction, but a triggering capability, where now with AI, you have the capability to bring in a customer service rep after a certain point where the AI finished their portion, right? Like they dug into what you need, and now it can alert a customer rep or a store clerk to come in and say, "We see you went down this rabbit hole of questions and information. We know what you need. Let's get you there." And now you're creating effective, efficient ways of really supporting an individual, whether you're a traveler in an airport or a train station or at a Best Buy or big box store, or you're at even a campus and you need assistance from an orientation perspective because you're a new student, or you're at a corporate center and you got lost and don't know where your meeting room is for your meeting that you have, right? So you've created these experiences that can assist you from just having natural conversation that trigger an individual or trigger results in a much faster way than typing or clicking, honestly.
Well, I don't think there's any question that digital signage, especially the bold vision that you have set forth in this conversation, is going to be a huge part of commercial AV's future. And there's no question that 22 Miles is at the vanguard of that. Thank you so much, Tomer, for being with us today. I really appreciate your thought leadership and just, educating and informing our audience about the way things could be, the way things are going in the future.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Again, so happy to have been joined by Tomer Mann, who is CRO of 22 Miles. My name is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. Thank you so much for supporting Commercial Integrator's Digital Signage Deep Dive, which will be all over commercialintegrator.com throughout the month of November. Be sure also to check out our in-depth report in the November-December issue of Commercial Integrator. 22 Miles provided a really insightful sidebar that's featured as part of that story. I encourage you to check it out. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you soon.